Hey family, how we feeling today? Today I made a little video about living in the 1900s. Now, when I think about that video, I was born in 69, 1969. So when I think about it, I sit to think how fast everything transpired. And then during my time on this planet, I couldn't believe how fast things transpired as far as the computer, internet world, digital world. That was also something that just came to fruition. 1990, so 30 some odd years later, is when the cell phones really started to come out, and internet started to go big, and it was just like internet was on fire. Before that, we only had maybe video recorders or 35 millimeter film or diaries to really uh, document everything that we went through. Now, if you're a Generation Xer, you you have to you have to be awakened by now, or something must have nudged you awake, because you already know that you can't believe in the society that you live in. You can't believe in the government that's ruling the world. And if you were able to travel like me to 69 countries, you'd see how those governments are all working together as one global capistocracy, as one global government uh, corporation, I should say. Now, they've been doing this for a while, but because we were scattered on different continents and mostly everyone was not supposed to leave their continents, even though most of us did. We went on vacations, in certain places. And if you go on tours, for instance, like if you go to European tours, you'll wind up seeing the places that our military had fought in World War One, World War Two. You can see General Patton's grave over there. They didn't even bring him back; they just left him over there. You know, you can see the the, the places that document the horror in history. We as Americans, we get definitely a different history than what the Europeans get. And once you start traveling and you start roaming the world, you'll start seeing that our history was not a history that was 100% with truth behind it. There were a lot of false narratives, false lies, just plain dirty lies, all in all. Because when you're my age and you're sitting there dissecting everything, because you already know that the conspiracies are movies or scripts that became movie events on this world global stage. This world global stage was not very popular until the TV started coming out in our parents' era. 1920s, I believe, is the first time TV came out. And then when everyone started to able to buy it in '65, or maybe it was '50s, they were expensive, but then it became worldwide, global, inside every home. That's when the television began to tell its lies, and we started to envision it, and they orchestrated a psychological, spiritual war on us by us watching these things and taking and soaking in whatever vision they wanted to give us. Because before that, they couldn't reach out to the public. They just had no chance to reach out to the public. It took too long to um, create newspapers and get them around globally, and you couldn't get them globally. Then they came out with the radioactive, which was shortened to radio. Now, the radioactive frequencies that were coming off of there, those were the beginning of what we go through now with our Wi-Fi's, UHF, VHF, digital, police band, radios, all those things. We're saturated with this man-made technology, which sits there and throws off our frequencies, does a lot of damage to our bodies. Even this whole man-made evolution in energy, that's also playing and wreaking havoc. During the times of uh, my parents, they all had gardens, and they had farmers markets, and they didn't have processed foods. Then my generation began to learn those processed foods and plastics. So you have to really understand, if you sit down and you think about it, Generation X, you're able to piece the puzzles together of the things that went wrong. And you already know that, yeah, it's time to stand up, non-compliance, worldwide government, yes, but worldwide population of humanity should be together too, opposing that one world government. They called it a one world government because they always were a one world corporation. They were just focusing and working on different continents to distract us, and then in different towns to distract us, and then different states to distract us. And when you go to Europe, you'll see it's totally different. They don't have presidents; they have more parliaments. And if you check around the world, you'll see that we can shed a lot more light as Generation X on the world because we know the truth. And the ones that were born before us know more of the truth. And we can sit there and link them in. Any of you that have grandparents that are still okay, sane, they were attacked with dementia and different type of vaccines back then, which later on flourished inside of their system. Just like the vaccines that happened in our system, which turned out to be high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and all these other things. And if we look at what's happening now, they just keep on finding a new vaccine to implement in the child's body so it can incubate for 16 to 21 years, and then it goes berserk in the body. And we wind up pushing it out because we're always taught, every generation, once we're in our teens, to work out, get fit, look good. So we're pumping all that blood and all of those incubated vaccines that have been sitting dormant for all those years. So you got to really wake up, family. Really wake up. We all have to unite, not just on a continental scale, but a global scale. It is time to unite. I love you guys in Lakesh, and see you on the battlefield.